The local government news roundup is supported this month by the National Growth Areas Alliance Emerging Growth Areas Forum. Australia is working towards 1.2 million new homes over 5 years, and growth councils are on the front line of delivering them. It's not just about land release and planning approvals, it's about getting the roads, drainage, schools, libraries and community infrastructure right from day one. And that's the focus of the 2026 Emerging Growth Areas Forum, hosted by the National Growth Areas Alliance on Tuesday the 4th of August at Hume City Council Town Hall in Broadmeadows. It's running alongside the NGAA National Congress. For the first time, council leaders from emerging and established growth areas will come together to share what's worked and what hasn't in managing rapid growth, covering organisational readiness, working with developers, building community trust, and making the case for state and federal investment. If your council is facing rapid population growth, this is a forum built for you. Registration is open now to all local governments. Head to the NGAA website, ngaa.org.au, to secure your place. Coming up, 7 men interviewed in a Greater Shepparton fraud probe. A Macedon Ranges worker loses a work-from-home challenge. Another aged care service exit confirmed. Council overruled on a Wollongong tower project. Political opportunism accusations from a mayor's family. Hobart's Lord Mayor and the Tasmanian Premier at odds. A monitor for another WA council, plus body-worn cameras. How one council has updated its policy in the face of rising aggression towards council officers. Hello, I'm Chris Eddy. Welcome to the Local Government News Roundup. More news from and about councils across Australia and beyond. Brought to you with the support of the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, Symphony 3 Simple Connected Customer Experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. Thank you for listening wherever you are across Australia or around the world. It's edition number 613, recorded on Thursday the 9th of July. And in Victoria, detectives have interviewed 7 men as part of an ongoing fraud investigation involving Greater Shepparton City Council and a local business. ABC News reported the council identified the financial and governance irregularities internally before referring the matter to police. The men, aged between 36 and 55, have been released pending further inquiries. It's understood the alleged fraudulent conduct occurred between 2022 and this year. The council has confirmed a small number of council employees are involved in the police inquiry, but it's not in a position to comment further at this time. A Macedon Ranges Shire Council worker has failed in his bid to work from home 4 days a week after the Fair Work Commission ruled that his employer had reasonable business grounds to refuse. The Planning and Building Liaison Officer argued that he experienced work-related fatigue due to his age and needed to share his vehicle with a family member. However, the Age reported that the Commission upheld the Council's position that having experienced staff physically present in the office to foster collaboration and team engagement is a valid business priority. Manningham Council has formally lodged its objection to a proposed boundary expansion for the North East Link project. The council's submission cites significant concerns over vegetation loss, reduced public amenity and inadequate community consultation regarding the Doncaster and Doncaster East sites. Council is calling for a substantial reduction of the proposed specific controls overlay to protect local municipal assets. A City of Melbourne Council committee has carried a motion addressing the growing harms linked to nitrous oxide misuse, commonly known as NANGs. Moved by Lord Mayor Nicholas Rees, the motion notes the council spent $146,000 in the past year, collecting more than 6,600 illegally dumped canisters. The council will write to state and federal health, police and consumer affairs authorities seeking a ban on flavoured nitrous oxide and stronger national regulation. Officers will report back within 3 months on removal and disposal options. Baw Baw Shire Council has launched a parking infringement refund scheme following an administrative error that led to the over-collection of fines. Motorists who paid penalties for 7 minor parking offences between 2002 and 2010 and 2016 to August 2025 may be eligible for a partial refund. The issue arose when the maximum penalty unit was incorrectly applied without the required council resolution. That issue has since been rectified. Northern Grampians Shire Council has voted to withdraw from direct aged care service delivery, transitioning to local providers by January next year. The council says moving from block funding to a fee-for-service model has introduced significant financial risk and compliance challenges. It's advocating for Grampians Community Health and East Wimmera Health Service to take over care for the municipality's 300 clients. And in other news, the City of Greater Bendigo has launched a community survey to determine the future of its local public holiday arrangements. Residents west of the Campaspe River have until the 9th of August to choose between retaining Bendigo Cup Day or switching to Bendigo Show Day or Melbourne Cup Day from next year. Yarra City Council will reduce its glass recycling collection from fortnightly to every 4 weeks. That follows community consultation and waste audits, which revealed glass bins were on average only 1/3 full on collection days. And Mornington Peninsula Shire has deployed anti-theft security measures across its reserves following a series of copper wire thefts. The infrastructure damage has cost the council over $100,000 and disrupted local sports clubs. To New South Wales in a moment, but first a word from our major sponsor, the VLGA. Bookings are now open for the 2026 Mayoral Leadership Program, which provides mayors and deputy mayors with targeted knowledge to fulfil their roles with a high degree of competency. It's directly aligned with the mandatory regulatory requirements outlined by the Victorian Government in their governance and integrity regulations. In addition to upskilling, the program presents an opportunity for mayors and deputies across Victoria to foster and strengthen connections and establish support networks at the beginning of their term. The program is designed to equip mayors and deputies to lead their council, as well as to satisfy the legislative requirements to undertake induction training within 1 month of election to the role. Now, we know mayoral elections won't be finalised until mid-November, but please register now under your governance manager or mayor and councillor's office to secure early bird prices. Details on the VLGA website. The New South Wales Planning Department has approved early excavation works for a multi-tower project in Wollongong, overruling objections from the local council, according to the Illawarra Mercury. Developer Level 33 is seeking to construct towers of up to 26 stories high on Crown Street, a proposal granted state significant development status. Wollongong City Council argued the deeper digging preempts approval for the main residential towers, which are still under assessment. However, planning officials cleared the excavation of over 1,500 tonnes of waste, concluding the work will not harm a heritage-listed Moreton Bay fig tree on the site. Wollongong Lord Mayor Councillor Tanya Brown has urged residents to remain alert for the H5N1 bird flu following a confirmed case on the New South Wales mid-north coast. Councillor Brown said the council has enacted a multi-phased preparation plan, training key staff to monitor local wildlife populations and manage potential outbreaks. Yass Valley Council is leading a national push for the establishment of a dedicated federal fund to upgrade and replace ageing council-managed swimming pools. Presenting a strategic motion at the ALGA National General Assembly in Canberra, Yass Valley Mayor Jasmine Jones secured crucial backing from several regional and city councils. Advocacy groups warn that without federal intervention, over 500 public pools nationwide face closure by 2030 due to maintenance costs exceeding local government rate bases. Goulburn Mulwaree Council is responding to a massive surge in heavy vehicle traffic following a train derailment at the Berrima Road level crossing. The incident suspended Southern Short-Haul Railroad operations, forcing Boral to temporarily shift its freight to the roads. The New South Wales Department of Planning, Housing and Infrastructure approved the emergency measure without consulting the council. Council is launching urgent condition and safety assessments on freight routes, with the heavy haulage disruption expected to last until August 15. Mid-Coast Council says it's continuing its push for flood recovery funding, submitting claims totalling more than $102 million to the New South Wales Reconstruction Authority. Investigations have identified over 4,700 damaged sites across 760 roads. While some initial bridge designs have been submitted, the council is still awaiting funding outcomes for major regional transport links, including the Buckets Way and Thunderbolts Way. And Leeton Shire Council has secured $150,000 in state funding to improve nighttime safety in its CBD. The grant, provided through Transport for New South Wales, will fund placemaking initiatives and community workshops starting this August to identify safety and accessibility improvements for women and gender diverse residents. Still to come today, I sit down with Mark Pitt, the CEO of South Burnett Regional Council, to talk body-worn cameras, financial sustainability, and what he really thinks about those proposed disaster recovery funding changes. That's coming up on today's podcast. Now let's check what's making news around the rest of the nation. In Queensland, the family of Redlands Mayor Joss Mitchell has accused Queensland's local government department of political opportunism, according to the Brisbane Times. The department claimed the mayor's extended medical leave limited a state-appointed governance advisor's effectiveness. In a statement, the mayor's family criticised the department's comments as lacking common decency. In Tasmania, 7 prominent Hobart hospitality venues have entered voluntary administration, sparking a row over local government red tape. Premier Jeremy Rockliff accused Hobart City Council of failing to value small business. Lord Mayor Anna Reynolds has hit back, rejecting the claims and accusing the Premier of political point scoring. Pulse Tasmania has more. Kingborough Council has unanimously approved a 99-year lease to lock in the Tasmania Football Club's new training headquarters. As reported by the Mercury, the agreement features a strategic provision reverting the $115 million facility to the state government if terminated, protecting the council from future asset liability. From South Australia, Light Regional Council, based in Kapunda, has recorded a strong year of growth, announcing development approvals reached $243.47 million. Data from the council shows 785 applications were lodged, 286 new dwellings approved. Of those, 230 are located within the Roseworthy Township expansion area. The rural city of Murray Bridge has launched its first self-guided public art trail designed to showcase local storytelling and history. The initiative features 3 distinct walking routes across the central city, riverfront and city fringes. Printed maps are available at several community hubs or online via the Murray Bridge Council website. And more news out of WA to share with you. Multiple former City of South Perth councillors have issued a joint statement citing a hostile and confrontational workplace culture as the reason for their recent resignations. The West Australian reported that 6 former elected members claim respectful disagreement within the chamber has been replaced by personal conflict, leaving them feeling psychologically unsafe. The mass departures have left only half of the council positions filled, intensifying calls for an independent inquiry into the city's governance environment. The state's local government inspector has appointed Jeff Gooding, PSM, as a local government monitor to the Shire of Halls Creek. Mr Gooding, a former commissioner at the Shire of Derby West Kimberley, will observe and advise on governance, decision-making and relations between council members and staff. The elected council remains in place and a final report is due by mid-December. The 5-month appointment can be extended if required. And the City of Fremantle has issued a statement correcting online claims that a Norfolk pine tree was removed during the demolition of the Carriage Cafe at the Esplanade Reserve. Council officials confirmed that all surrounding Norfolk pines have been retained. The visible stump currently circulating in social media reports belongs to a tree that was cut back to roof level in 2019 due to ill health. The Roundup this month is supported by the National Growth Areas Alliance's 2026 Emerging Growth Areas Forum. With Australia aiming to deliver 1.2 million new homes in 5 years, councils are on the front line, planning neighbourhoods, building the roads, drainage, schools, libraries and community infrastructure to match. How are councils gearing up to meet those challenges, and what can we learn from each other? Find out at this important forum, to be held on Tuesday the 4th of August, at the Hume City Council Town Hall in Broadmeadows, Melbourne, alongside the NGAA National Congress. Registration is open now at ngaa.org.au, and NGAA CEO Bronwyn Clark will join me next week on the program to talk more about why this forum is needed now. Let's head overseas for some international news before my guest Mark Pitt joins us. In the UK, Greater Manchester is heading to the polls on July 30 to elect a new mayor following Andy Burnham's return to Westminster. 7 candidates are on the ballot. Manchester City Council leader Bev Craig is running for Labor, while Trafford Councillor Phil Eckersley stands for the Conservatives. Sean Astley represents Reform UK. Geraldine Coggins is running for the Greens, and rounding out the ballot are Liberal Democrat Richard Kilpatrick, Marland West for Restore Britain, and independent Marcus Farmer. ITV News reported that a new voting system will be used, where residents will cast first and second preferences. The Mayor of Redditch, Sue Eacock, has issued a public apology for historical social media posts that criticised minority communities. The Reform UK councillor told a full council meeting she was sorry for the offence caused, describing her entry into public office as a steep learning curve. BBC News reported that opposition parties and local community groups have accepted the apology. An international data sharing initiative has launched to crack down on the illegal subletting of social housing on short-term rental platforms. Coordinated by the Cabinet Office's fraud team, the scheme enables local councils to cross-reference housing records against online listings. Nearly 6,000 social homes in England are suspected of being illegally sublet, with early results identifying 470 cases, according to BBC News. In the US, former Jackson, Mississippi Mayor Chokwe Lumumba has pleaded guilty in a federal bribery case tied to a proposed downtown convention centre hotel project. Prosecutors say the plea follows an FBI undercover operation with agents posing as developers. Lumumba admitted to a conspiracy count involving 5 $10,000 cheques disguised as campaign contributions in exchange for moving a city deadline. He faces up to 5 years in prison and a possible $250,000 fine at sentencing, according to USA Today, which also reports that former reality television contestant Spencer Pratt has met with US President Donald Trump in the Oval Office following his unsuccessful bid for Los Angeles mayor. Running as a Republican, Pratt failed to progress past the primary election. Incumbent Mayor Karen Bass and City Council member Nithya Raman, both Democrats, will contest the general election in November. And to New Zealand, Southland's mayor is questioning the accuracy of new financial modelling on local government amalgamation. Environment Southland says its analysis, based on council's long-term plans, suggests moving to a two-council structure would deliver only about $2.2 million in savings by 2034. But Southland District Mayor Rob Scott says the numbers don't add up, claiming savings would be at least $10 million a year, and he wants to see how duplication costs were calculated. Environment Southland Chair Jeremy McPhail says the modelling has been released transparently, and he expects it to be challenged. More on that from the Southland Tribune. And Stuart Duncan has resigned as Chief Executive of the Waimate District Council after nearly a decade in the role. He noted the timing allows a new Chief Executive to lead the organisation through upcoming local government reforms. He'll remain in the position until late September to assist with the transition. Well, a growing number of councils across Australia are formalising their approach to protecting staff who work face-to-face with the public. And body-worn cameras are increasingly part of that toolkit. South Burnett Regional Council in Queensland is one of the latest to update its policy, adopting a revised framework that covers compliance officers, environmental health staff and caravan park night monitors. I'm joined now by Mark Pitt, who's the CEO at South Burnett Regional Council, to walk us through what's been happening there and what other councils thinking about this issue might want to consider. Mark, welcome to the Local Government News Roundup.
Very much. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you here and to spend a few minutes with you. I know you're a busy man as the CEO there. You've been there about 8 years, I believe, and 8 years prior to that at North Burnett. You know this region pretty well.
Yep. No, it's a beautiful part of the world.
So tell me about this body-worn camera program. You've had it since 2023, so, it's only been around a few years and you're updating your policy now. What's prompted the most recent review?
Okay. The most recent review isn't overly exciting. It's with our corporate and governance policies, a 2 to 3 year window, so we revisit everything to make sure that they're up to date, they're legislatively compliant. With this one, though, it is regrettably that it has been brought in back in 2023 We had a number of issues where compliance officers, say example for a dog attack, compliance officers that take their diary notes and they go out there. When we ended up in QCAT or some other sort of challenge, those notes were called into question and no, I didn't say that, or yes, I did say that. So the policy was introduced in 23 to start to get some more governance and more accountability around the notes that we're taking. And we often, sadly, get complaints about how our officers behave. And I'm pleased to say that the body-worn cameras have put a lot of that to bed because, he was rude or she was rude or they said this or they took the dog and they didn't tell me. When you've got the evidence, like with the cameras, it's a little bit harder to dispute.
Well, it removes that he said, she said element from it, doesn't it? I noticed that the councillor debate at the June meeting when you were looking at this update touched on some specific incidents, staff at caravan parks being put in difficult situations late at night and an alleged assault. How widespread is the program and do you feel it's getting worse? The problem, rather.
Yeah. How widespread? It's, as I said, the caravan park one I'll touch on separately. We've had this on, particularly the animal control officers the compliance. They were the first ones off the rank as far as through the necessity of, and again, regrettably, the conflict that they often face when they're dealing with issues. So they were the first kept off the ranks. It's probably stayed reasonably constant for them. Once we got it in place, it's been pretty much an equilibrium. Regrettably, there's individuals in community that are just becoming much more aggressive, and we're facing it across a whole raft every day from front counter. And we can get into the whole social media thing. Would you say that on social media? Would you say that face to face to someone? And some of that really poor behaviour from online is now really manifesting itself face to face as well. The caravan park one, they've not been rolled out to the caravan park staff yet, but it certainly is that example that was given at the council meeting. The gentleman it was a police matter and it's being dealt with by the police, so I won't go into it too much, but
Sure.
there was quite aggressive behaviour to the officer involved or the contractor involved. And it is certainly, it's probably always been around, but it is definitely more noticeable.
Yeah. So the use of the cameras doesn't apply to all staff. How do you make the decision about where you can and should use them?
It's the ones that have got again, I use compliance, but enforcement of local laws and enforcement of laws and the environmental health with the enforcement of the Act and the regulations. We've kept it really to the space, and hence the caravan park discussion should have branched out into that area. It's sad that we're even considering having to branch it out into that area.
Yeah.
That's a symptom of the problem, I'm afraid. But
It
yeah,
is.
it's where the guys have got to go out and actually enforce something. It's that enforcement of legislation or a local law is particularly where we've kept it to.
Yeah. How are your officers managing the obligation to notify people that they're being recorded? Because that could bring safety issues in itself, couldn't it?
Yeah. No, it is, and it's part of the training that we're rolling out, as well as with this revamp. We've lived and learned. So since 2023, we've actually looked at opportunities to improve our process. We have, there as with anything, with any process, we've had complaints through to our agencies that have gone through, like to the Ombudsman or anywhere, and they've come back with not that they were breaches, but they've come back with improvements. We welcome that third-party review because anywhere we can continue to strengthen these processes and improve. But we ask the staff to identify and declare. And it's actually the declaration that the conversation is being recorded assists in the management of the issue, because animal attack or dog attack, there's a lot of emotions, and particularly if people are hurt, there's a lot of angry people. But having everyone on the same page and knowing that it's being recorded and evidence is being taken, staff are acting professionally, it actually helps to but it actually helps to settle the whole situation, because there's an accurate, almost independent record of the events.
Yeah. And you've had to apply information management principles to this and privacy management principles as well, haven't you?
Absolutely, yeah. And as I said, our corporate governance team, which includes our records, and the privacy stuff, we're very big on. How we release it, even with police, we have a form. Local government loves forms. We have a form for everything. No, but there's procedures and processes and forms and authorised officers who can see the footage, how long we keep it for.
Yeah.
because you don't want this stuff sitting on servers or in the cloud somewhere for years. If you end up with a data breach, and I'm probably drifting a little bit off here, but it was one that was brought to my attention a few years ago. How long do you keep unsuccessful applicants on file?
Yeah.
When and if, and thankfully we've been relatively good in this space, but if someone gets into your system, one of the areas they go and look for is where all this data is stored, because all of a sudden they've got names, addresses, LinkedIn, resumes. Same with this sort of stuff. Because of the nature of the incident, you're collecting a lot of personal information. That personal information is way more valuable than money. So there's a lot of hoops and regulation around it to protect that privacy.
Yeah, it's true, and it might be slightly off topic, but it's very much relevant at the moment. As it seems like every week there's another council that's been impacted by some sort of breach, and you just got to keep making sure your systems are on top of that, don't you?
And the ones that are getting in, they're spending a lot of time and energy getting into it. Some of the stuff that comes through is very, very good.
Yeah,
We've had minor breaches. We've reported, gone to the government, the different agencies, but thankfully we have, touch wood, but we haven't had a significant one. But I feel for the ones that do, because it is so easy, a simple click, and once you let them in, they're gone.
yeah.
You've got to have a really robust system.
Absolutely. I want to just sort of focus maybe on the staffing element of the use of the body-worn cameras. What's the staff acceptance been like, and what sort of training program have you had to have in place?
We've got LGAQ Peak Services up here, so they run some really good courses in the space. There's others about. Staff acceptance has been generally pretty good.
No resistance to wearing them?
No, probably in the earlier days, while they were getting used to it, it was more the question, why do I have to?
Yeah.
Until that sort of acceptance that, this actually helps keep me safe as well as helping me do my job. So it wasn't, when I say resistance to it and, that's a terrible idea, I don't want to do that. It wasn't that sort of pushback. It was, do we really? I think it's got to that we have to do this. I keep my notes, I keep this, I keep a voice recorder. So a couple of them transitioning from voice recording through to body-worn cameras. Now it's like PPE. It's just part. So if you're going out, you put on your safety vest. You're going out, you put on your camera.
Yeah. So not every council's gone down this path yet. I think that surprised you when we were having our initial chat. If someone's considering introducing the body-worn camera option into their operations, is there one thing that you'd tell them to get right before they start?
Have your systems like that regulatory environment around it, so that you've got the scaffolding, so that you know where the data's being, what server, who's got access. Have your privacy, have your policies, procedures in place. Talk to the troops. We probably, with that, do I have to wear this? We could have done that a little bit better. Certainly was an area of communicating to the staff on the ground about the why that we're bringing this in, as much as, because sometimes there's that initial, they're bringing it in to spy on me. No, actually, we're not bringing it in to spy on you. We're bringing it in to help protect you.
Yeah.
So, so communicating that a bit clearer, that is certainly something we could have done.
And I assume, given the way the sector operates, you'd welcome contact from other councils who'd like to get some guidance on how you've gone about tackling the issue?
By all means, happy to share. Very, very happy to share. I use the term, we steal with pride off of other councils, and happy to offer it back.
Yeah. So, Mark, while I've got you, current circumstances in Queensland, people have put their budgets to bed by now. There's been some pretty significant rate rises at some councils around the state. How's the budget process been for you this year?
Yeah, good. It's tight. The discipline in the budget space is absolutely paramount. Yeah, it's not an easy industry in this space. The financial assistance grants, we could go down that whole path. I mean, other grant revenue. And there's only a certain capacity for community to pay. So you've got to balance that capacity of community to pay versus like the services. And I know that consumption of assets, I think I often say small council, but we're a medium-sized council now. We've got $1 billion of assets under management. When you think about it, I mean, like, we're quite a large corporation. And just managing those assets and keeping them up to the community expectation and standards. And probably the other little bit is community expectation is increasing exponentially, and the revenue streams just aren't matching it. So everyone's doing more with less.
A lot being said about the proposed changes to disaster recovery funding from councils in Queensland. Where do you stand on that issue?
Council formally adopted its position at the last meeting. If I can say, we're dead set against it.
Yeah.
politely. One of the things, the 50-50, Queensland is one, like West Australia and Northern Territory is similar, but we'd much prefer to see the Commonwealth bring others up to our level of expertise. And I know a lot of councils up here would be happy to share if other states are having trouble in this space. But it will potentially, I don't want to be over the top, but it'll potentially cripple a lot of little councils. And one of the bit that's sneaking through is, like, for us, for an event, so in our local region, we had 3 events in 1 year recently, flooding events, and we have a $240,000 threshold that triggers when we can start to activate and with multi-agency response, and you go through, like, it's a proper disaster. They have just very quietly put that threshold is going to go up to 2.7 million. Now, all of a sudden, you've got everything from $250,000 to 2.7 won't be a declared event. So it will restrict your access to programs. So even with the 50-50, your access to funding opportunities will be restricted. That one probably tweaked my eyebrows more than the 50-50 funding split.
Right.
The state and the Commonwealth will argue that out, no doubt, as to how they do it. But that change in the trigger for an event will have a massive and significant impact on us as well as other councils.
Given the tight environment that you've just described, it just feels like there's hit after hit coming on councils Australia-wide, doesn't it?
It does. Well, our resale budget for a year is $3 million. So if all of a sudden, if 2.7 becomes the new trigger, and at the moment we pay the trigger, so in Queensland, the council, the local government pays the 240. And in that one that happened over the year, we had to pay multiple triggers. And if you have one in December and then 12, 13 months later, you have another one in January, you end up paying the trigger. So there's $500,000 within a very short period of time. But if we have to pay the trigger, that's our entire resale budget gone. I mean, like, you just can't recover that sort of sort of funding, or will impact other service delivery badly.
Yeah, money's got to come from somewhere. Just starting to see how diabolical it potentially is. Mark, thank you. Appreciate your time. I know you're a busy man. Great to have you on, and hope we can talk again soon.
Really appreciate it. Again, thanks for having us.
That's Mark Pitt, the CEO of South Burnett Regional Council. And that's our edition for today, number 613, recorded on Thursday the 9th of July. And brought to you by the Victorian Local Governance Association, the national broadcaster on all things local government, Symphony 3, simple, connected customer experiences, and Rath Engineering Development, smarter local government systems built from real on-the-ground experience. Additional support this month from the NGAA, with their Emerging Growth Areas Forum happening on the 4th of August. Details at ngaa.org.au. If you want to know more about any of the stories in today's episode, head to lgnewsroundup.com, where you'll find a transcript and all the story links. The Local Government News Roundup is recorded in the city of Greater Geelong, Victoria, on the land of the Wadawurrung people of the Kulin Nation. Until next time, thanks for listening, and bye for now. Support for the Roundup comes from Symphony 3, allowing councils to connect their systems securely, to automate their data flows and to monitor performance in real time. And right now, councils are lining up for their own emergency dashboard, like the one that Symphony 3 has created for the city of Greater Bendigo. The dashboard helps keep the community safe and prepared before, during and after emergencies. It pulls together live data, including weather data, traffic data, emergency incidents, unplanned and planned disruptions, news and social media feeds. Visit www.symphony3.com to learn how you can get an emergency dashboard for your community.